Feminism, a concept existing for more than 100 years, nowadays has been blooming all over the world. However, both men and women are misunderstanding, even demonizing it. Why? What are we striving for, feminism on Earth? To figure out this question, I think the best way is to go to the opposite. Let's go back to the very first historical mark, what we should have not had before the birth of feminism. Before the first wave of feminism, when women in upper classes in Europe struggled to achieve basic political rights until the passage of 19th Amendment in 1920 courts. In general, before that, women didn't have political vote right, work right, divorce right, abortion right, property ownership right, education right, and the right to own their full names after marriage. Wow, absurd! Yes, it was. The first wave only addressed political vote rights for women, but surprisingly, after that it had been a long time, about a half century. Feminism champions went through little progress, but more silence. Fortunately, thanks to the educational equality on gender, never had the light of torch of feminism been dim. In Europe, in 1949, the book The Second Sex by the famous French female scholar Simone de Beauvoir was published. More and more women in Europe resonated increasingly in defending the rights of women. During 1960s, beside the United States and Europe, the second wave of feminism brought in women of color, housewives, elder women, and women from other developing nations that were seeking solidarity, political vote right, work right, property ownership right, abortion right, divorce right, educational right. For example, in the United States, let's say work rights first. Compared with those lived in the early 20th century in the United States, just 20% of all women were gainful workers. Only 5% of those married were categorized as labor force. Women advocated to seek for more work participation successfully. Title VII is a section of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that prohibited discrimination in employment on the basis of gender. Also, in the property ownership rights, actually, by 1900, every state had given married women substantial control over their property, but the women still faced gender bias when they came to financial matters. It would take until the 1970s before women were able to get credit cards. Before then, a woman still needed her husband's signature. Then, let's say the divorce right. Thanks to the revolution of divorce law during the late 1960s and early 1970s, unilateral divorce, which allowed neither spouse to initiate divorce proceedings without the other's agreement, became available in a growing number of states. Before that, marriage represents a serious binding commitment. A married woman could not divorce her husband unless he agreed to it, or unless he could approve wrongdoing like abuse or infidelity. But after that, the rate of divorce increased rapidly. Also, let's see the educational equality on gender, especially in the higher education. Total energy grade data shows female outnumbered their male peers for the first time is in late 1970s. And over time, female have performed better. For the whole world in general, the historical remark was from the United Nations. The United Nations began to celebrate International Women's Day. In 1977, the United Nations General Assembly invited member states to proclaim March 8th as the UN Day for Women's Rights and World Peace. In 1979, Convention of the Liberation of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, signed by many United Nations member states, asserts that women's rights belong to the political, economic, social, cultural, civil realms. The declaration specifically addressed eliminating prejudice in public education, giving women full political rights to vote to run public office, as well as marriage and divorce rights that equals to men's. Hooray! So, from 1940s to 1970s, through the second wave feminism, eventually women in whatever social classes gained equal rights. In the United States, one of the most important issues that the women's liberation movement faced of banning of abortion and contraception. This was a big leap in feminism, which tackled and meet the overall essential demands on women's rights and brought a remarkable victory on gender equality, which is quite close to what we have today in 21st century. In 1990s, mixed with individualization and diversity. In the United States, feminism have developed a more theoretical pursuit, what it meant to be a feminist. Nowadays, the fourth wave, thanks to the uproars on social media, feminists are continuing to improve more details in the framework of the second wave, such as equal gains on gender and being against sexual harassment, Me Too, and violence against women. On the other hand, in virtual world, her power frequently appeared in many recent popular TV shows and Hollywood movies. Without the efforts on education and the campaigns and movements for more than 100 years, the general public won't take what we have today in feminism for granted. However, many people, especially men, feel threatened and even hostile against feminism, basically because such a seemingly upgrade from discrimination to equality. Women are more and more neck with men. Such misunderstanding somehow is intensifying some unnecessary conflicts between men and women. In fact, feminism is not against men. Instead, what women have been surviving for more than 100 years or 200 years is just to take back what they are supposed to have. Because as human beings, men and women are born to be equal. As two binary human creatures on our earth, baby men and baby women experience the exact same childbearing process from their moms. Both men and women are born equal. And thanks to the progress of feminism, women have performed their competitive abilities in education, career, academic, and leadership, which are the best evidence to indicate both men and women are created equal. As two binary human creatures on this earth, men and women are born to cooperate each other in their whole lives. In a family, for men, a female can be mom, sister, wife, daughter who love and help this man. Equally for women, a male can be a dad, a brother, a husband, or a son who love and help this woman. In school, for men, female can be a teacher or a classmate who teach and study with you. For a woman, the same. In workplace, for men, a female can be a colleague or leader who team up with you. For women, the same. Apparently, without women, men themselves wouldn't be born, and without men, women can't have offspring in a natural way. See, men and women are not enemies, but co-workers. In this world where only two genders exist, as two gender humans creation on this earth. So, when women strive for their rights, they are not depriving of what men have, but to gain what they worth. Feminism is not against men. Instead, it needs men. Feminism needs men's fair understanding and active participation in order to build a better balanced gender equal world. Although men and women are pursuing all kinds of equal rights, feminism doesn't mean men and women the same. Actually, thinking two genders the same is the biggest feminism trap. Want to know and avoid this feminism trap? Subscribe my channel, watch my next video.